Every time I say that, it's a big big difference. No, nothing's changed. In order for them to honor our sticker or vice versa, you have to have a dinner local, right?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome everybody to today's council meeting for the city of Dayton, Kentucky. It is April 18th, 2023. Roll call, please. Ms. Klein.
Member Neary,
Here.
Member Neiman,
Here.
Member Kelly,
Here.
Member Levins, Member Wyrick,
Here.
Mayor Baker,
Present.
City Administrator Fawcett,
Here.
City Attorney Edmondson.
Now, if we could all please rise for a moment of silence.
Oh, Member Volter, sorry.
You hear, Mr. Volter? A moment of silence and a pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Next on the agenda would be the mayor's report, and I being the mayor, my report is, first of all, I'd like to introduce everybody to Tristan Klein. Tristan is now the city clerk for the city of Dayton, Kentucky. She moved here with her husband, Jacob, up from Morgantown, Kentucky. So we are extremely excited to have her filling this very important role. She hit the ground running. She's accredited in all the accreditations that we need. And we are super pumped to have her on our team. So welcome, Ms. Klein.
Thank you.
Next on my mayor's report, and it'll be brief, will be next month's city council meeting. Unless there's any objections, we'd like to move it to the third Tuesday as we did this month. Just a little travel concerns for some members, and make sure that we get everybody here. And last on my mayor's report is we have a new officer for our city, and we are also very excited to have him. So everybody, I'd like to welcome Mr. Spears and Chief. Please.
Thank you.
The honors.
Robert Spears is going to be taking the place. We lost Officer Hawks to neighboring city Bellevue. Prior to that, I had a list going for new hires and laterals, and Robert was a lateral amongst a couple others that put in. And his qualifications were the top that we had, and he comes from us from grew up in Williamstown. Williamstown High School, Williamstown grade school, all that. And he actually was at Williamstown PD. So he is a certified police officer. He doesn't have to go to the academy. Has to take a couple classes as far as legal update, just as a refresher. He's already been started as far as FTO goes with Sergeant Linkugel. And this is, I think, third day on shift, third night. So he will be. You will see him, but mainly in the next couple months, he will be on third shift. So he will be protecting us when we are in bed asleep. So Mayor Baker is going to just do the swearing in.
The honors.
The honors of swearing in. And he'll read off and you just repeat after him. And duly sworn.
Raise your right hand, sir, please. I, Robert Spears,
I, Robert Spears,
affirm that I will faithfully perform the duties
affirm that I will faithfully perform the duties
of the officer of police officer
of the office of police officer
of a fourth class city,
of a fourth class,
and that I possess the required qualifications,
and I possess the required qualifications.
and that I shall not interfere with any election.
I shall not interfere with any election.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Welcome to the team, sir.
Yes, sir.
We're very proud to have you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. They might want to take a photo.
And to all his family, thanks for being a part of the Dayton
Thank you.
team.
Thank you very much.
We're a family here. Next on the agenda would be the approval of the minutes from March 7th, 2023, the city council meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from March 7th?
So moved.
Member Neary's made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Member Volter. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions? Next, we have audience comments. So if you have any comments that you'd like to bring forth towards city council and administration this evening for anything that's up on our tonight's agenda, the podium is yours. All right, we'll go ahead and close those. Next would be the ordinances. The second reading of ordinance number 2022, number 2. This is an ordinance recognizing Monument Park and Riverfront Commons as city parks in the city of Dayton, Kentucky. Ms. Klein, do we have a reading of the ordinance?
City of Dayton, Kentucky ordinance number 2022-02, amending section 95.01 of the Dayton Code of Ordinances, recognizing Monument Park and Riverfront Commons as city parks in the city of Dayton, Kentucky.
Thank you much. This is the second reading. Do I have a motion to accept ordinance 2022, number 2?
Make the motion.
Member Neiman's made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Member Kelly, which opens us up to conversation within council if you'd like to discuss.
Well, I want to thank administration for getting this done, especially the Monument Park section. And we added up all the acreage with the existing park, Sergeant Park, Vine Street Park, plus this new area that is public park. And that makes it almost 10% of the property in the city limits is now a public park, which I think is a huge plus for our community, especially when you compare it to other ones. 10% of our land is public park, usable, open, and that 10% now is eligible for using the park tax to keep it improved. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
So what Joe said, is that the primary reason we're doing this?
Correct. Member Fawcett.
No, it's, so it was unclear, and previously, we had a different scheme where we had a park board and their funds were given to the board and they decided where it went. And so the ordinances said here for the parks, you have to decide where it goes. So before we had Riverfront Commons and Sergeant Park was really kind of a underused park, and Memorial Park, it was going to be used perhaps for a city hall. So now it's pretty clear that that's not being used for a city hall, and we have this new wonderful park along the river, and we should recognize those as equal parks, and that any funding we get from our parks tax should be used in those parks as well as the other parks that were listed previously in the ordinance.
Just to clarify what you said, this does not preclude any of this property, including Memorial Park, from being used differently with the approval of council
That's
in
correct.
the future.
Because the only time that is restriction is when you use a federal grant to make a park. And then as we experienced when you took the park that was along the river, as part of the development over there, you had to find a substitute park, and that's where you put the park along Dayton Pike. But as long as you're not using federal funds have conservation easements that are attached to them, and you cannot use that for any other thing for a park purpose. And if you decide you want to do that, you got to find a substitute property to make that happen. That doesn't happen here. So along the river, that's already a conservation easement because the Corps of Engineers pretty much says you can't do anything there unless we approve it. So, yeah, so it's not an issue.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify
Yeah.
that people don't freak out. We could put a city building where it was originally planned. We could sell that property if somebody comes by with 10 million bucks for that property.
Right, because federal funds weren't used to buy that property. That was used with city
With
funds.
city funds. Thank you, sir.
Any other comments, questions, concerns regarding 2022 number 2? All right, we're going to go ahead and close comments. We have a motion by member Neiman and a second by member Kelly. Ms. Klein, can I have a roll call, please?
Member Neary,
Aye.
Member Neiman,
Aye.
Member Kelly,
Aye.
Member Levens, Member Wyrick.
Aye.
Member Volter.
Aye.
The ayes have it unanimously, so close. We have 2 orders or resolutions tonight. The first of being the 2023 number 15 Romeo. This is an order resolution approving an interlocal cooperation agreement by and between the cities of Dayton and Bellevue, Kentucky, authorizing the mutual use of golf carts by residents on streets in these cities subject to the golf cart use restrictions adopted in each city.
So as you know, we passed a resolution, an ordinance actually, with a resolution that adopted regulations for allowing golf cart uses in the city. Number one golf cart user in the city, of course, is Mayor Ben Baker, who recently got a golf cart and is number 1 license. The city of Bellevue also passed a similar ordinance. Our ordinance is very similar. Our regulation is very similar. There's a little bit difference between where you can ride these golf carts in each city. So I talked to Frank Warnock. We said, well, you know, where both cities have these ordinances, why don't we find a way that allows us to travel from Dayton into Bellevue and Bellevue into Dayton. So that's what this will do. It's an interlocal agreement. This has to be approved by the Attorney General, as all interlocal agreements do, but I don't think there'll be a problem. You have to make sure you follow the rules in Dayton, which allows you to be on 6th Avenue, but in Bellevue, as it's currently written, you can't be on Fairfield, so you'll have to get off at O'Fallon and go down side streets. I don't know if they're going to change that or not, or they're going to keep it, but for some reason, they decided not to allow carts on their main drag. But most all other rules, regulations are pretty much the same. That's really the only other difference we have is that we require street tires on our golf carts, which are safer, and we don't allow the tires are used on golf courses, which don't have treads on them the way street tires do. So make sure that if you are going to the other city, that you're compliant with their city regulations.
Thank you, Mr. Fawcett. The idea, hopefully, I think, is we'll eventually be able to go to Fort Thomas, Bellevue, maybe Newport one day,
Newport's working on it.
and fun little vehicles during the summertime. So, do I have a motion to accept 2023 number 15 Romeo?
So move.
Member Volters made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by member Neiman. Do I have any comments, conversations?
When we approved the order or ordinance allowing golf carts, it was said that, I believe it's in the ordinance, it says that the city administrator will make up the rules.
Yes.
Are our rules going to mirror 100% Bellevue's, so we don't have, well, you can't do that here?
Everything's the same except for where you can drive it on the main drag and the tires. Other than that, our rules are identical.
Okay. Because like on Lincoln Road, Upper Dayton Pike, half the street's Fort Thomas, half of it is Dayton. Are we going to explore an interlocal agreement with Fort Thomas?
Both Frank and I have talked about seeing if we could get several cities to do this. So I think that's the next conversation. We wanted to set the example and then go from here.
Because if Mayor Baker comes up to visit me in his number 1 golf cart, you're actually going in Fort Thomas.
Right.
Are they going to respect our ability to use a golf cart on that small section? And
They allow golf carts in their city. I don't know, technically, I guess, You're not supposed to be on that side of the road, but I don't know that it's.
I'll stay on the right-hand side of the road.
But we can have those conversations with the city administrator there. Once this is approved,
Okay.
he'll approve it. And again, I understand Newport's considering this as well, so Covington already has something in place.
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions, concerns regarding 2023-15 Romeo? Roll call, please, Ms. Klein.
Member Neary,
Aye.
Member Neiman,
Aye.
Member Kelly,
Aye.
Member Wyrick,
Aye.
Member Volter.
Aye.
The ayes have it unanimously. Next would be 2023-16 Romeo, an order resolution appointing Andrew Ashcraft as an alternate member of the Code Enforcement Board.
So we had a meeting last night of the Code Enforcement Board, and two of the members were absent, and so we basically barely had a quorum. So it's an issue we've dealt with before. So Case and I have talked about it, and this gentleman volunteered. He said he'd be interested in being on the board. He's a Dayton resident, and he owns a home construction business, and he owns some rental property, so he's kind of familiar with a lot of the issues that we face. So we felt that if we made him an alternate on this board, just sort of like when you have juries, you have 2 or 3 alternates. They hear the evidence in case somebody cannot continue to serve as a juror and they replace them. So you, instead of have to re-impanel a new jury, you have somebody there that fits right in. So he would be able to come and be there. And if someone tells us they're not going to be able to make a meeting, we can call them and say, hey, would you come to this meeting and sit in on it? And you would have the same powers and authority that he has as any other board member would have. So this is we don't want to have a situation where we don't have enough people for a quorum. Everybody's here, ready for a hearing, and we have to discuss it and reschedule for another date. So that's why we're doing this.
Thank you, Mr. Fawcett.
And you know this person and you've interviewed him?
Yeah, so
and-
Cassie's dealt with him over the years. He was a landlord. He's always very maintains the property, does a good job. What's the construction company that he owns? Total Home Care. Total Home Care is the name of his construction company, and we checked. He's up to date on occupational license and all those things, so we think he's good to go.
Okay.
Very important. Do I have a motion to accept 2023 16 Romeo?
So moved.
Member Neary's made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Member Volter. Any other comments, questions, concerns regarding this ordinance? Roll call, please, Ms. Klein.
Member Neiman,
Aye.
Member Kelly,
Aye.
Member Wyrick,
Aye.
Member Volter,
Aye.
Member Neary.
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Which brings us to the next part of our journey, which would be the department head report. And Ms. Klein is not used to how we do our department head reports. However, since we have so many and some, we don't want to discriminate against anybody. We do what we call the wheel of reports. So a little wheel on my phone here.
I've been warned.
You've been warned of the wheel. Well, welcome to Dayton, man. So first on the docket, what do we got here? Public Works. Mr. Lucas, if you would please give us your report.
Well, we've been pretty busy. Again, we're always busy, but we did get some trees trimmed on the 100 block of 6th Avenue. And we started the mulch in that block. And we put 80 yards of mulch in Clark Street Park, so that's done now. And the other 10 went down to Gillette. And we're busy. We're cutting grass, trimming trees, took down some trees today. Took down one on the 800 block of 6th last week, or the week before, I can't remember. But we're busy. We got a job for Jay tomorrow. We're gonna be doing a job for Jay and Cassie tomorrow. That'll probably take most of the day. But other than that,
You guys were out on a Saturday the other day. Was it Saturday?
Cutting the cutting grass, which,
I was thinking about the trash.
well, we cleaned up the property.
Yes.
That was not the Saturday, that was
No,
a
that was-
Thursday or a Friday.
Yeah, that was
Thursday or
during the
Friday,
week.
Friday.
Yeah, it
That
was-
was a long day too.
So we cleaned up trash on 10th Avenue, 10th
Tenth and
Avenue.
Dayton Avenue.
We took 6 full truckloads of garbage,
Two of them
trash
were
and
dump
debris
trailers
out of the yard.
versus-
So, yeah, it
Yeah,
was
we-
quite a
Yeah.
event. Cassie helped out. We were one short in code enforcement, but
Yeah.
we, it was quite an afternoon, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was pretty bad. But, other
You know,
than
of
that,
course, we got grass cutting season, the flood wall needs to be cut,
Yeah,
so
well, we're
that's in
cutting-
full with
I
all the
think I've
rain.
cut- I think I've cut the flood wall 3 times now. Cut the ball fields, I think 4 times. We just cut Gilliland Park this week. And like I said, we cut Clark Street Park and everything, last Friday, and then we mulched it, a couple days ago. It may have been Friday or Thursday when we mulched it.
You also trimmed the trees on 6th Avenue and mulched those tree beds.
Yeah,
It looked,
mulched those.
the avenue looks great.
And we got enough to come on down to the 200 block. We'll have all those trees done. Don't know if we'll get it this week, but we'll get close. And we have enough mulch to do the monument and a couple areas like that.
Rick and I also, last Friday, went with Mike Yeager, city engineer, and Harry Hindy of Hindy Construction, and we looked at probably 6 or 7 street sidewalk issues that we're looking at, whether we have money in the budget to cover some of those things that we're getting estimates from that now, so when we're doing our budget, we can figure out what we could cover. And also talked about asphalt repaving this year. We won't have the kind of money we had last year because we did quite a few roads last year, but we'll have some. But one of the big ones we need to do is Second Avenue, which is a really big street, but it really is in need of repairs. It's in our industrial park, and those guys down there have been waiting a long time for that to be repaired. So we have to cost our way up, though, so we'll have to see what the
Oh, yeah.
budget holds.
It's gonna be there. And then I seen SD1 up on Fairview today. They had their camera truck and stuff up there. So I don't know. I didn't stop and talk to them. They must have been down over the hill or something.
Okay,
But other than that,
sounds good.
we're busy. Okay, thanks.
Hold on a second. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Lucas and his department? I know you're not a
Trying
public
to get away
speaker.
from
That's
the
cool.
camera.
Anybody have any questions, comments?
You still down one person?
Yeah. Yep. We'll find somebody.
Joe, are you interested?
I'd have to give up my council seat. It's very comfortable.
I know you're retired and all, Joe.
Semi.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Mr. Lucas. Have a good evening. And next, Cassie. Code enforcement wins.
I have a handout. This is kind of where the cases are that we sent through foreclosure, you have a copy already.
So Jim Dady is the lawyer we've hired to help us do some of these foreclosure actions, and he has
Can
been
you
very,
take a look at these?
very active. These are cases that are code enforcement cases. How we were able to get the property on 705 and 701 Boone torn down was to go through this whole process, acquire the properties, tear them down. Some of these are we're not going to acquire them, but we are going to make somebody either sell them or fix them up. And they're just not doing anything to them. So those are the current properties that are on our foreclosure list.
And the ones that are being dismissed, they've come in and paid their code fines and
Yeah, so we've had 2 that come in and because we said we had enough of it, finally said, okay, we'll pay you, and they got us off the list, we dismissed the cases. So that 2 of them happened in the last 2 weeks.
right. And those will be very closely watched. One guy hired a new property management company and the other one's going to be sold. They're both empty. So we'll see where that goes, but it's, the grass is starting to grow. So it's going to get really busy really quick. Other than that, we've been
Yeah.
busy, so. we have a lot of things in the works for foreclosure. So these are, I think every one of the properties right now are, yes, everyone is empty except for the last property. So, yeah, other than that, it's been steady. So, do you have any questions?
Thank you for your work. I know you're one of the hardest workers we have in the city, and we really appreciate what you do for us. It's changing
Thanks.
a lot.
We do, you might want to talk about that really sad situation. We have the 2 animals that were in the house and we had to get a search
Yes,
warrant.
so we had, I got a call on Friday from the police department. There were 4 animals living in a vacant property. The owner is an elderly lady and her son was living in the property. They apparently had some issues with the pipes. They busted and it was a really bad situation. So we went out with the animal control, Campbell County Animal Control, and seized the animals. And at that time, I condemned the property. It was in deplorable condition. So the mom came in today and we had a conversation, and they just can't afford to upkeep the property. The son, I think, has some issues, and so she's decided that they're going to clean out the house the best they can and sell the property. So, which is probably in their best interest because they don't have the funds to fix anything. It was kind of a eye opener a little bit with the animals and things like that. So that was taken care of, and I thank the police department and the animal control, because they were the ones that they had received a complaint. There was a picture window they could see inside, and at that time they went immediately and got a search warrant. So
Was somebody living there?
no,
So
But they had the dog or animals?
for quite a long time the dogs have been left. They would come, let the dogs out,
feed them,
feed them, give them water.
but
And cats.
there was feces and urine all throughout the house. It was horrible.
Yes. Yeah, it was in really bad shape. So, I mean, hopefully this is I had a long conversation with the mother, the owner of the property, and I think this is in the best interest of everyone, what she's gonna do. We'll watch that close. It's just a bad situation, so. And I also want to thank Rick and his crew because they did a wonderful job on the clean out that we had. It was a hot day, it was a humid day, and it was a lot of stuff we took out of the property. So
The one on 10th?
the one on 10, yeah. So we're getting there. So.
Probably in time.
Yeah, and I mean, I encourage people to call. Like I said, we would have never known there was a complaint that they had with the animals. We had issues with the yard last year, and I mean, we had no idea nobody was in the property. So it looks like somebody lives there. So if the neighbors don't, let us know, then we don't know. So I encourage people to call and let us know if you see something. We'll take a look at it. It may be nothing and it may be something. So, but yeah. And I thank you.
We thank you.
Thank you.
It's police fire, right? Fire department, please. I'm sorry. Sorry, Chief. Sorry about that. Didn't give you the chance to wheel.
I think everybody has a copy of the chief's report. Just, we had our new hire, John Matula. He started this week on shift. So he's on the streets now, getting acclimated. He's going to be a good fit. We are going to do a community CPR class here on the morning of May 6th. Anybody interested can go to our website and sign up for it, get registered. And then just a reminder, starting May 1st is the statewide burn ban. So there'll be no open burning then. So we won't be able to give any burn permits after that point. That's all I have.
Everyone has a copy of his report, correct? Any questions?
If you could
I
just,
just had a quick question.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
You can't give any burn permits after May 1st?
Correct. There's no open burning after May 1st,
Until when?
September,
What
Okay.
constitutes an
or
open
October,
burn?
I'm sorry.
What constitutes an open burn? Is that me in my backyard with my solo stove, or is that brush fire?
That's brush and debris. As long as you have a commercially bought fire pit,
Containment.
yeah, contained, you
With
can
the
still,
net
you can
thing.
still burn,
There's a net.
right, recreational.
You don't have to have a net on top of it, though.
If it's designed with one, now solos are a little bit different because they're designed to burn all the embers.
Right.
But your fire pit like you buy in the store that comes with the
Screen.
spark arrestor on top of it,
Yeah.
that has to be, you have to have the whole thing. You can't use 55-gallon drums or rock fire pits. They have to be commercially purchased for that purpose. And then you can only burn, just wood, no brush and things like that.
Thank you.
On the CPR, will you give us information? We'll put something on our website about that. And social media. You already got it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay, so you got it?
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
I think Rick Frank's ministry is also interested in participating in the CPR classes, so it's great to see participation throughout the community.
Yeah, I think we're gonna start trying to do it more frequently
Oh, it's great stuff to have.
as needed. Or we get people interested.
I need to show up. I need to know how to do that. Hope I never need it, but just in case. Chief Hathel, I'm sorry, I didn't give you the chance to wheel.
Not least. That's okay.
Chief Hathel from Dayton Police Department.
You have my report for the month. So does anybody have any questions on that? Any statistics or stats? Okay. Just to add, we have a couple things to announce. March 31st, we did a summer safety fair at Lincoln Elementary School. We got donations throughout Campbell County. Businesses donated money, which we were able to purchase 14 bikes and helmets for the kids. So the summer safety fair is something that we do. It's new this year. It's the first time we've done it. Kind of go over with the kids with summer coming up and them getting out of school here in the next month or so. Kind of go over bike safety, swimming, and outdoor safety. Just talk to them about that. And then we give the bikes away to certain participants. So that turned out very good. I want to thank Sergeant Lynn Kugel for getting that together with the help of Sergeant Wilkie, Officer Fern, and Officer Keene. They played games and did safety stuff. They all had a good time. So I want to thank them for putting that together. And then we had Officer Kabbalah. She graduated finally the police academy after 20 weeks. It was actually longer with all the holidays in there. So she is a graduate of class 537. She is on her second week of FTO this week. So we have 2 people on field training. So during the ceremony, she was given an award. There was 10 awards. A lot of them got the fitness award and firearms award, but she kind of got a distinctive award. It was called the Coordinator's Award for Excellence. So she was awarded that. And kind of what it is encouraging your classmates, helping out, going the extra mile, giving a hand to anybody that needed help. So out of her class of 30, she was the recipient of that award. So I want to congratulate her on that. She did very well. And she is, like I said, she grew up in Dayton. She went to Dayton High School, graduated from EKU with criminal justice. And I was hoping she'd come back, and she did. And hopefully she'll serve the community for years to come.
So I also understand that she got her feet wet, no pun intended, at the house with the animal
Yeah,
situation.
she's getting acclimated to,
She
you
was
know,
a real
couple-
trooper.
a couple of new sights and smells, you know, so it's something new, you know, that she's going to have to deal with. You know, there's nice places to go into, and there's not so nice places, and that's something she's going to have to adapt to and learn how to
Yeah.
cope with it.
Second day on the job, she got to do that, as I hear. So I heard she was a trooper. That was
Yeah,
great.
she was, and she also got Taser certified too. That later on that day, so she had a long day. So
I saw that video. She took like a champ.
still got like a champ. Yeah, very proud of her. So, thank you.
Hold on a second. Council, any questions for the chief? All right.
Well, the
thank you.
new officer that you just swore in,
Yes.
you said does not have to go to the academy
No.
because it's a lateral.
He's lateral, yeah. And what I've talked to Jay about, just we will, you know, if you saw the Dayton Police is hiring, we just take applications to see who's out there. In case we do lose somebody like we did, I can quickly replace and not, you know, have to fill shifts and overtime and all that other stuff. I was able to get him in quickly. So what we're continuing to do, we will probably sometime by the end of the week, I'm going to go through the new applicants that we have. So these will be brand new officers wanting to be police officers all throughout. We've got them from Ohio and Indiana and Kentucky, and we'll go through them. We'll have a test, and the best and the brightest that get towards the top, and hopefully they'll be able to serve the community and, you know, in the next year or so.
And we love to get the laterals because, of course, it's not as expensive as sending someone through the academy, but it's a very competitive field of laterals out there right now, the police field.
Laterals are hard to come by. I was very fortunate with Officer Spears. They're drying up, and it's going to be something that new hires are going to be something that we're going to have to do, and it works out best for us. But this laterals, everybody's trying to grab them as fast as they can, and they're just hard to get a hold of. So.
Anybody else? Thank you, Chief, for your time.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. That concludes the department head reports, which moves us along to Mr. Fawcett with his city administrator report.
Just a couple of things. I was lucky enough to attend with Mayor Baker the presentation from the Kentucky Tobacco Control Conference, recognizing the city of Dayton and the city of Bellevue with an award for our smoke-free ordinance, a statewide award. So they were very complimentary of our efforts to improve public health in our communities. And Ben was also nominated for another award as well. So, so we went down that Thursday and went to the conference, and they got a nice little plaque from them in recognition of our ordinance. A couple other things in terms of projects. The Mud Bow project is tentatively scheduled to start in May. The residents and the businesses on that section of the road where the construction will occur. But right now, it looks like early May. I'm not sure what early May means right now, but I'm hoping first week. But we'll find out for sure here soon. I'm going to be meeting with Mike on Friday because we're meeting about the Berry Street connector. We have a pre-construction meeting Friday afternoon with folks from Cardinal Engineering who designed it, Nelson Stark, the contractor, the developer, who's represented by Paul Darple, myself, Rick, and Mike Gager. So I'm hoping to have some good news after Friday about some timelines. And you might have noticed that the poles are down, the electric's down off the flood wall here. We got Duke to remove those at no cost to the city. And we routed the lines, which primarily served the pump station, from off another street. I'm not sure which one it was, whether it was Main or Clay. But anyway, so hopefully we'll have this underway this construction season and get it done by the end of this summer. So I hope to have more information on that on Friday. I think that's all I've got.
Thank you, sir. Does any council member like to speak, Mr. Fawcett? Questions? All right. Well, thank you very much, sir, for your report. Next on the agenda would be anybody from the audience who would like to address city council and administration. If you would like to address us on any concerns you have, please go to the podium, state your name and your address. And there's a 2-minute limit for any comments.
Hi,
Hello.
I'm actually a Bellevue resident. I live on O'Fallon Avenue, and it's become a very big parking issue in that it's basically because of all the construction. There are trucks, I've got all kinds of photos. I've sent things to Cassie with people that are basically just leave their car right in front of my driveway exit. And most of these cars are very expensive cars. So when I go over my curb, it falls into, because, it's hard to stop it in the middle of the curb when your car is going down. That people are parked behind me. I have to be so careful and maneuver trying to get out of my driveway and then get over the alley, which has a drop off into my neighbor's garage, which has a 2-car parking spot, which he also has cars parked all the time in front of his driveway too. And it's my understanding that Bellevue, you can park on the Bellevue side, but you shouldn't be parking on the Dayton side. But there's no sign from where all these houses are built, all these new houses are built, which all have two garage door, and at least 4 places to park in their driveway. But they'd rather park on the street in front of my home and JP's home. Oh, I don't know what that is that.
So Ben and I went there today about 5:30. This, I believe, is your driveway here, correct?
Yeah, that's my property right there.
And
Yeah.
there were no cars parked at all on the street.
There was a truck and a Jeep during the day.
So I'm not understanding, do you have a problem getting out of your driveway? But there's no parking from here to here, so I'm not sure where the issue is.
Well, if you want me to point,
Sure.
if you look at the telephone pole,
Yeah.
the telephone pole, I need to get out across the street or more than halfway into the street to turn. Now, if you think that's easy, then I would invite you to drive up and
I
pull in
mean,
my driveway and pull out.
well, it's public parking that is public parking on that side of the street, but there's no parking here, so why can't you just go that way?
Because if I'm going down to Fairfield or going that direction, I would have to go up the hill, a block over to down Furman, then down Ward. So I'd have to drive around at least 4 blocks to get down to Fairfield.
Is that a one-way street?
No,
So
What,
I don't understand.
so I just want to make sure, what are you requesting, ma'am?
well, just a no parking sign by the telephone pole and maybe a little further down for JP getting into his garage when they have, the property right across from me, I believe it's 1007. Basically, his daughter parks in front of my driveway exit when she's there. And then when they have people over, they all park right there, from my place on down.
They're on the opposite side of the street.
Right, exactly.
So this is your driveway here, correct?
The not the blacktop, that's an alley. And then the,
Right. So there's no parking from here all the way down to past the garage, your neighbor's garage, right? Those are-
there could be parking on the street by Bellevue.
But
On the
those are all entrance, it's either an alley or entrance to driveways. There's no allowed to park in front of those.
Exactly, but I have 2 lots, so they could park right between the second telephone pole and my driveway if they wanted to park on the Bellevue side of the street. But as you can see, there's a car parked up on top of O'Fallon Avenue, even though there's a sign that says no parking.
That's beyond it. I think the no parking is just past where that car was parked.
Isn't the left-hand side, the Dayton side there, isn't that the majority of the driveway? So
Right.
you can't park in front of a driveway, right?
Exactly. And the only place that they want to park then is where the telephone pole is, right there. And between their mailbox and the telephone pole, and then down in front of JP's driveway too.
I still-
Because the street is only 10 feet, 7 inches wide. And when you have, most things are going to be at least 6 feet off the curbs. If you park off the curb.
The street's only 10 feet wide.
18 feet, 7 inches wide.
That makes more
When a
sense.
car parks there, then they're almost halfway out into the middle of the street. And the construction trucks basically are in the middle of the street when they park.
If they're construction trucks, just wondering, the construction seems to be pretty much done.
They usually park up by, they're pretty much finished constructing, but when they work, they were generally parking up near the buildings
Okay.
they're working on.
Here's one. Here's another. Here's a car that parks right there in front of my driveway exit. Right here's my driveway exit. Here's the,
So I'm still confused. Are you having a problem backing out?
yes,
Okay.
trying to turn and go down,
Yeah, I think
go
she
down
said she
O'Fallon
can't go this
Avenue.
way, out of her driveway. If
Yeah.
a car is parked there.
Yeah.
So you're afraid you're going to hit those cars across the street?
Well, yeah, actually, there was construction trucks. This has been going on for 5 years, and one of the construction guys said that I backed out and I dented his passenger door, which basically was parked in the wrong direction. But he called the police and had them come and talk to me about the dent in his passenger door. And basically, he wanted my insurance information. So he made a claim on my insurance that I dented his truck. Now, I mean, here are other, there's a whole, I've got everything that you could possibly, all the people that park across the street all the time. And I certainly don't want to back into a Mercedes or a Telstra.
So what you would like would be then for us to consider making this a no parking area.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. Because you can't park in front of their driveways over there, coming down the hill. And that's basically, all we're asking is to at least have a sign, like where his driveway ends that says, no parking and one by the telephone pole. I mean, I don't know, the Mercedes. But yeah, we have, and this is basically the neighbors, and they have one car there, and then the Tesla, they park right there, in front of my place.
Yeah.
But they got a driveway, they could park, at least 3 cars in there,
I got that.
and a
neighbor
2-car garage,
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say. It's difficult to get out because of where I am and the alley beside me and the drop off to his 2-car garage, JP's. So I have to maneuver to try not to touch the car that's sitting behind me, and then make sure that I can turn and get out without going over the edge of the alley with the drop off. So basically, yeah, that's all we're talking about. Even JP also about just no parking sign. Because he did call the police because he had like 3 cars. I've got some pictures here someplace. 3 cars parked in front of his place. Well, here, this is part of it. That's one. It's here someplace. I got so many.
This one you've got most of the cars on.
Well, this is when even, what do you call it? Spectrum had to come to my house, and basically they couldn't go down the alley because the alley is a paper alley, and it's only for use of emergency vehicles to protect the back of the houses on the street. I believe it's Center Street, and then 10th is Dayton, Center is Bellevue. And basically, and you can see cars packed, there were 3 cars parked behind that. So he couldn't drive down the alley because there's a sewer cap in the middle of the alley going to Van Vost. And basically, he couldn't drive his truck over that. So he had difficulty getting out because of the 3 cars that are parked behind his place.
Jay, is that public parking on our side of O'Fallon,
Yes, that's
all the way up and down?
all the way up and down.
And no parking on Bellevue's side?
No, they
That's-
park on the Bellevue side.
Oh, they park on Bellevue side?
No, Woody's the only one that parks on the Bellevue side.
But they're not prohibited from parking on the Bellevue side.
Excuse me?
There's no signs that prohibit parking on that side.
That's right. I believe there could be parking. And again, I have 2 lots, so there's no driveway. I've got 1 driveway and 2 lots. They could park right there in front of my home.
Right.
But down the hill, I believe, you can't park because of all the new housing. And
Right.
we were already, it's like,
There's not enough space
supposedly-
between the houses for cars to park without blocking a driveway. You're right.
yeah.
That's
So
right.
basically, it just needs no parking, for the Bellevue side, or for the Dayton side, to let us be able to get out of the driveway and not have to maneuver so much to go down to Fairfield Avenue.
So ma'am, one of the issues that I think I have with this is we have numerous parking issues all the time in each of our cities, Bellevue and Dayton.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And if every time someone wants no one to park in a certain spot, what you're asking us to do is to take away that public parking, that becomes a big issue for us. Because, I assume no one's parking in front of your driveway,
Yeah, they are.
then
In front?
you need to call the police.
What do you mean well, actually, JP did call Dayton Police because cars were parked in front of his driveway. And basically, the police said they couldn't do anything because they couldn't cite anybody because there was no signage that they could not park there.
Were they parked on the Bellevue side, the west side, or the east side, which is
The
Dayton?
Dayton side.
Okay.
Well, that's public parking then, yeah. I mean, if they're parked there, then that's public parking. That's their prerogative to park there. I mean,
So Dayton has public parking then everywhere that they can block driveways.
no,
No,
and I don't think anybody's blocking your driveway.
Okay. Okay. Trying to get out of the driveway. They're not sitting right in the exit of my driveway. They're across the street.
Right,
from me.
I understand that.
Okay.
Can I just ask a question real quick? So you have your driveway
and there's across the street, and they're parked across the street, so you're saying it's too tight for you to get out of your driveway and turn left to go to Fairfield because
When-
it's
when
too
they're
narrow
parked-
of a street and they're lined up on
When
the,
they're parked there, then there's like, and I only have a Toyota Corolla, it's not a long car. Coming out, if I back up all the way over the curb, then I will be hitting the car that's in the, parked across the street.
On the other side.
driveway.
okay.
And it used to be, I think there was only one house on O'Fallon on the Dayton side that mysteriously burnt up. It was a big fire. I don't know if you were here for that. But, so there would be maybe one or two cars that parked for that one house on the Dayton side. And nobody on the Bellevue side, really parks on the street except for Woody down below JP's driveway.
Have you talked to the homeowners across the street, the new homeowners, to see if they'll park in front on the Bellevue side in front of your house?
Well,
Instead of parking there?
then they would have to back out into, if they park on this side. Let me see here. Well, I got a big picture of somebody that actually parked on my property.
Well, I think the issue is when you want to come, because your driveway's at an angle,
No, it's straight out.
it's straight out.
Yeah.
But you can back out of your driveway and go up the hill, correct?
Yeah, but if I go out I guess, when you're backing out, I'd have to turn, instead of turning this way, I have to turn that way so that I back down the hill and then go up the hill.
Right, you can back out of your driveway, even if someone's parked across the street, and go up the hill,
Up the
correct?
hill and around 3
And-
blocks.
But your issue is that you can't back out of your driveway uphill to go down.
Right, exactly, exactly. And to drive 3 blocks out of, when I'm maybe 100 yards from the stop sign at 10th and Center Street,
Understood.
I was up there today. Jay and I drove up there. I didn't see a problem today. I'm not saying that there's never a problem, but my test was that there wasn't a problem. In fact, when we saw the driveways next to your property, you can't park in front of a driveway.
Uh-huh.
So that would be illegal. And if there was that problem, you call the cops and they would take care of it. I'm not sure if there's any action that the council can do this evening. We can speak with Public Works Director and look at it. I see what you're saying.
Well, do you want me to call you when they're parked out there in front of my, so, I mean, that picture was one of the ones where there, like, at the end of the day when, the guy's daughter usually parks there on Friday for the weekend. I don't know.
You can't park a car. How long is it?
Pardon me?
How long can you leave a car? 2 days?
Uh,
That I don't time. It's when I want to get out and get back in.
Councilman Wyrick mentioned that. Have you talked to the neighbor? Have you talked to the neighbor and asked them not to park there? The woman, the daughter who parks there? I'm sure she could move, she could move down a little bit. I'm sure you would ask her if she might be willing to do that.
If she moves down, then she'll be in front of JP's driveway.
Well, there's an alley there between the two.
Well, I get it, yes, they could park from behind the telephone pole instead of in front of.
That's what I'm
the
saying.
telephone pole. But in front of the telephone pole, we need some sort of a sign that is no parking.
Or you could just ask her and see if she would park beyond.
All right, I'd hate to take away public parking on a whole street because
Not a whole street, well, because the the houses that they just built, yeah, you can't park in front of their driveways.
Their driveways, of course you can.
I know, that's the point. Nobody can park in front of their driveways. You know, the only place to park is below, down near the bottom of the hill.
When we were there, they were all parked in their driveways. When we were up there a few minutes ago, I meant today, they were parked in their
I mean, it
driveways.
was 4:30 today that Jay and I drove up there to take a look at it.
5:15.
Well, I mean, you can basically, I can give you a call and say, hey, come on up, you know, and then let you, pull your car in and back out and see how much of the road you go across to back out.
I mean, we'll take it into consideration. We'll speak with Public Works and see if there's any type of alleviation, but I'm not sure if there's any council motion that we should make tonight.
Well, it's just, you know, I've been dealing with it for 5 years, and it's, you know, cars and trucks and all kinds of, you know, parties, when they have parties. And that would be fine if they just say, hey, we're having a party and we need to park in front of your driveway. And it's like, okay, fine, you know, that kind of thing.
Right.
But, and I don't have an issue with that. It's just all the, you know, all the time when they have a 2-car garage and at least 4 places to park in their garage. You know.
Like I said, we were up there earlier today, and well, I'll talk to Public Works about it. If you want to call us and tell us, you know, that's fine. We'll always take a call and look at it. But there's not much we can do at this moment.
Oh, I know. Like I said, it's been 5 years already, so I don't expect anything to happen overnight.
Right.
But at least, you know, some sort of something that JP and I can just be able to get our cars in and out of our driveway without backing into somebody sitting there.
Gotcha.
Should she take pictures and send them to you?
But she sent us some pictures. We do have like half a dozen pictures. So
Well, I think Nancy got most of the pictures.
I believe she sent, didn't you?
Well, she did. I forwarded them to,
Council, right?
not council, but to you and Jay.
Okay.
We can share them with you.
You got it, John.
So there are some more pictures that you could look at, which is basically what happens most of the time. You know, particularly on the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay. We will take in consideration. We'll speak with our Public Works, and if it makes sense, we'll put up a no parking sign. If it doesn't, we won't. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat nothing.
No, I understand, but if you notice, O'Fallon is not very wide.
I know, I ran it up. It's horrible. Don't ever run up on Fallon Avenue, by the way. That's a horrible idea. 'Cause it goes up, and then it goes down, then it goes up again. And you think you're done with it. You're not.
Well, and I do like watching everybody, they use O'Fallon to exercise.
Yeah, it's a beast.
And the kids take their bicycles up to the top of the hill.
Oh, wow, that'd be fun.
Well, and when I talked to the people that had lived there a long time, they used to sled down that hill and then go over 10th and then down over the railroad track and halfway down to Fairfield Avenue, sledding.
I bet. I mean, it's a degree. It's
And
slow.
when they go over the railroad track, they fly off. And there's a stop sign right there. So.
Yeah, thank God for that stop sign. Hit a kid. Well, I appreciate what you brought to council tonight. Like I said, we'll speak with our Public Works Department about it, and I can't promise anything, but we'll take it into consideration.
Okay, so if.
Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair, and I will, if somebody is parking there, I'll call them and say, hey, come on over. You can pull in my driveway.
I got a little car. I got a Kia Soul, which is just an upgrade from a golf cart. Now I also have a golf cart.
Well,
So,
do you have the one with the square back on it?
yeah, the Kia Soul, the hamster mobile.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's mine.
Oh, okay.
I'll give it a shot, and I'll put my driving skills up to it. How's that? Is that fair?
Okay, yeah, I'm sure maybe even your golf cart would have an issue with pulling down.
That sounds like a fun challenge. Well, I appreciate you bringing it to council.
Okay, all right, thank you for listening. Thanks so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right.
The floor is still open for anybody who'd like to bring anything to council administration.
Oh, wait, I did mention lose snow in the wintertime.
That's not true.
No, the Dayton doesn't ever go down on that side of the street. You can ask them.
Well,
Yeah, well-
Where's-
what's that?
We don't go up.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Well, I learned something new tonight.
Yeah.
Nobody's done that for.
and Bellevue does that, and basically, when they do, they come down the Bellevue side.
Okay.
And if I'm out there shoveling, it all gets shoved back into my driveway. And so
Well, that's
I
a
had-
Bellevue problem.
So, well, wait, and so one night, there were 4 times that the snow was falling, and I had to go to work at Children. And basically, it was like, oh, man, this is terrible. I was out there 4 times in the middle of the night, and I saw the truck coming, and I waved. He honked the horn, and but he was just really nice about it, because there's nothing they can do when it flies off. So, it is what it is. They
Well-
deal with an issues.
Hopefully, we don't have that issue for another 8 months. Thanks, Ms. Cox. Have a good evening.
All right, thank you.
All right, last call. Anybody else want to address council administration? Closing it out. Is there any unfinished business with city council? None?
Yeah, where's new business?
Is there any new business, Member Volter?
Yeah. Just wanted to mention that, we got a new business, it's gonna open Thursday, the Cozy Cottage.
Yes,
right.
Ms. Wiedemann.
Coming from Bellevue today.
Yes, yes.
Wiedemann's gonna open, at the old Rocco location on the upper side of the 600 block of 6th Avenue.
It's great.
I don't know, if you might want to plan something with her for a grand
You want to do a
opening.
grand opening?
Yeah.
Yeah, we typically do. Jared usually gets with the business owners and we do a ribbon cutting. You know I love ribbon cuttings. What's that?
We have 3 ribbon cuttings this month.
3 ribbon cuttings in Dayton, Kentucky this month.
This month, huh? Okay.
Is she on that list? So 4 in the next 2 months.
Okay, but anyway, just wanted to mention,
When did she say she was opening? Wasn't it soon, April?
Thursday.
Okay,
Yeah,
Thursday.
Thursday.
So she's doing her soft opening and then we'll do a grand opening. That's great. We've long been friends with Ms. Wiedemann. She's a Dayton resident and she's an awesome person. So we're happy to have her business here in the city of Dayton.
That's it.
New business. I like how you did that. New business. We have new businesses. That's great. Any other new businesses?
I don't have new businesses, but if anybody is interested in getting involved in the Memorial Day Parade, they are having the parade meeting Monday at 7 o'clock at the VFW. And then also it's the Eagles Spring Meat Raffle at 4 p.m. this Saturday at the Eagles Clubhouse down on Kenton and 3rd.
Could you repeat that, the parade meeting? When was the parade meeting?
Parade meeting is Monday, the 24th at 7 p.m.
Okay, thanks.
Any other new business or new businesses?
I have a question.
Yes.
I would like to know what's going on with pickleball.
I love this question. I really do. My dad's a pickleball player. I know it is a sport that is gaining an amazing amount of popularity. And not just older folk, but younger folk too. I know my friend Ian plays a lot of pickleball. So we would really, really like to see a pickleball court in the city of Dayton, Kentucky. We've been talking to the park board. I think we've already plotted out a space for the pickleball court. Jared Parks, Jay Fawcett, and myself went over and looked at it. If you look above, if you do a Google map search of Gill Inn, you'll know that there are 3 basketball courts, 2 of which are really prominent and great. They have nice concrete posts. And then there's one kind of back tucked in the corner. I don't see those basketball courts being used as much as we'd like. If we could open up the 3rd basketball court, which is kind of alienated from the other 2, and turn that into a pickleball court, we're looking directly at that. Looking at the cost, it's probably going to be about 10 grand if we're going to do it right. And Jay wants to make sure we do it right.
I think it'll be more than that, but yeah.
But that,
Asphalt, it's gonna need new asphalt.
new asphalt, new surfacing, because you have to have the surfacing that's kind of like a tennis ball court. Well, we've done the dimensions, and we can certainly fit one in there. Can we snug two in there? That's kind of the question. That'd be great. But I think that it would make Dayton's parks more of a destination. I mean, we use them a lot too, but we'd also have people from other cities saying, wow, Dayton's got a great pickleball court. Let's go use it. So yeah, we're actively looking at it. I know former council member Jerry Gifford's been very active about that. He's questioned me multiple times, and I appreciate that about him. So yeah, we're trying to make that a reality.
Okay.
And I want to learn how to play because I got a new hip and I can't wait to use it.
You just gotta remember to stay out of the kitchen. It's the term, a phrase.
What's that?
You're not allowed to go in a little area they call the kitchen. You gotta stay out of the kitchen.
I did not know that. I'm learning a lot of stuff today at this council meeting. This is great. I'll stay out of the kitchen.
So at this point, you're kind of looking for grants or considering paying for that, or,
We are right now trying to figure out how much it costs, and then we start to look at grants.
okay.
Can't, as you well know, you just can't just go to a grant and ask for money unless you actually know what it costs.
And so we're in the budget season 2 right now. So the question is it this budget year or is it next budget year? So, and is there money for it? So I'm putting on Jared's hat here and, you know, the budgets are saying it's all about what the money's there to do it. So we'll look at it. I mean, obviously it's a park funding. See, you know, if you fund that, there's other things you can't fund. So we're trying to figure out what priorities are.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks for bringing it up. I think it's cool.
Yeah, me too.
Any other new businesses, pickleball courts?
I have another question.
Yeah, so
Are you still needing a lot of people to join boards, or do those spots get filled?
we
pretty
always
much?
need board members,
Need board
always.
Okay.
We're one,
Even- Go
one
ahead.
short on the planning commission, I believe, right now. And I think we have a couple others that
And what?
I think we have a couple others that, what are the Board of Adjustment, we're one short on the Board of Adjustment as well.
Okay.
We also have been talking about whether we want to go to, there's a countywide ethics organization that a lot of the cities are now a part of, that instead of having their own ethics board, they join it, and Bellevue is part of it, and other cities are. We're looking at doing that. Our ethics board hardly ever meets, and we've lost a couple members, and I think we only have one right now. So the next meeting, we may come back with a proposal that we join that board, and they, you know, and they do any ethics complaints for any cities in the county. So that may solve a problem with keeping that board filled up. So I'll provide more information about that.
Okay.
Any other new businesses? Great questions, great conversation. We're going to close it. Last on the agenda would be our executive session. So we will be going into executive session pursuant to KRS 618101B Bravo, deliberations on the future acquisition or sale of real estate property when the publicity would likely affect the value of the property. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
I make that motion.
Is there a second?
Do I have a second? Motion's been made by member Neiman, second by Mr. Volter. All in favor?
Aye.
Executive session it is.
We actually have chairs in the executive session room, so we don't need to drag any in there. So.
If you guys like to sit around and hang out, you're welcome to. If not, I thank you for your time.